My girlfriend and I elected to have our own little New Year's 2K party by tripping our brains out in a nearby hotel. We succeeded, using a total of 6 hits of acid, splitting them between us. I had tripped a few times, but all at lower dosages, 1 or 2 hits, so was pretty prepared for an interesting experience. We downed 1 hit, with 1000 mg of vitamin C. I still don't know if it more greatly potentiates an experience, but it seemed to help. Waited 1 hour, and then downed hit number 2, with another 1000 mg of vit. C. During this time, we had turned off all the lights in the room, lit a number of candles, most in hurricane glass, highly recommended, and relaxed. About an hour later, we were feeling the first 2 hits, very speedy, but okay. And elected to imbibe the 3rd hit, too. This particular batch of LSD 25 seemed to hit after about 2 hours, peak after about 4, and fade around 9 hours. We were already having very trippy psycholytic, sick reactions, breathing ceiling, weird stucco, 3D effects from the wallpaper edging, aural distortions from the Enigma and Deep Forest we were listening to, and proceeded to have delightful but not overly ecstatic sex. Time passed, first watching very awful but amusing porn on the hotel Spectrovision, then with her painting watercolors and me waxing philosophically. The 3rd hit was coming along well, and, after she showered, I was feeling frisky, so we had sex again. Oh my god. We had complete ego dissolution, and the best sex I've ever had. I came 5 times, something I hadn't expected was even physiologically possible. She was getting fantastic synesthesia, seeing splashes of color with every touch and caress, while I was in the midst of watching our love play sort of in slow motion, floating between being in my body, and loving her, and climaxing, and floating back out of myself while we continued to make love very swiftly and ecstatically. There was a lot of teeth clenching and a fair amount of paranoia, on my part. But the latter is normal for me with more than 1 hit. Teeth clenching seemed most treatable using mixed fruit Mentos, but they taste awful. You think you want one, and you put the Mentos in your mouth, but by then, the Mentos has used you for its purposes. But they crunch well. I had massive synesthesia on one, with sounds happening, instead of tasting the Mentos, goodness. Yesh, Star Trek. The Next Generation, the best of both worlds was on, and I mused how cheesy the Borg costumes were, but still kind of spooky. I mused, that must be when they know to stop spending money on effects. Don't spend more, sir. It's good enough to fool the acid heads. There were some setting issues, due to a recent death in her family, but I was feeling very empathic, and we talked, and cried, and it was a very wonderful, bonding, and flat-out fun experience. Sleep was very hard to obtain, even 17 hours after the first hit, but it finally came. Now if only LSD weren't so hard to come by here lately, smiley face.